Good evening. Welcome to the January 27th, 2025 meeting of the Stillwater City Council. This time I will call the meeting to order, and I'll ask that you all stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilors, first up we have a consent docket. Excuse me, let me turn that microphone on. First up we have a consent docket, councilors. Questions, comments? We did have a request from staff to remove item D from the consent docket.
I'd like to pull F.
We'll pull F.
Motion to approve consent docket minus items D and F.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve minus items D and F. Please vote. You vote 5-0, the consent docket is approved, absent items D and F. Staff want to make a comment about the item D? This is item 5 on the agenda, items removed from the consent docket.
Thank you. This is small amendments made to the agreement after it was attached to the agenda. The original referenced 3 parking spaces. As part of the agreement, there are actually 4 that have been traditionally assigned to Tiny Ball's use and access. And then we updated the leasee address at the end of the agreement to reflect 901 South Lowry. The original report put 4000 West 15th, had a prior address. Happy to answer any questions on those 2 changes.
Councilors, any questions, comments, or so you're asking for approval of the amended one from what was on the agenda?
Yes, we would request approval of the amended that's been placed in the approval signature file.
Councilors,
I move approval of item 3D as amended.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to approve item 3D as amended. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, that item is approved. As to item F,
I'm just not going to vote on it.
we need to have a vote for approval on that without Councilor Clark's participation. So I'll move that we approve that item F.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item F from the consent agenda. Please vote. Item F is approved with a vote of 4-0 with Councilor Clark not voting. All right. That takes us to item 6 on the agenda, which is public hearings. 6A, receive public comment regarding a request from the City of Stillwater and Stillwater Regional Airport for a map amendment to rezone from IL Light Industrial to P Public, a portion of the property addressed as 2020 West Airport Road. Said area is also referred to as 3111 North Hargis Road. CC-25-18, did we have good notice on this item?
Yes, we did.
Thank you. Mr. Brown.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I'm Josh Brown. I'm the project manager in Development Services. As stated before you tonight is a map amendment to rezone a portion of the airport property at 2020 West Airport Road. More specifically, this is addressed as 3111 North Hargis Road. The request is rezoned from light industrial to public. So this is an area map. As you can see, Hargis Road runs in front of the subject property there in the kind of purple and pink hatched polygon. Hargis Road does turn into Airport Industrial Access Road. Here's an aerial view. As you can see, the airport is located directly to the north. And then there to the kind of southwest is the waste management building. This is a street view of the property. The lot is currently vacant. However, as discussed on the March 4th, 2024 City Council meeting, this is the proposed new site for the animal welfare facility. The FAA has approved this use at this location. This is a zoning map showing, or as you can see, that it's almost entirely surrounded by public zoning already. There is an area of light industrial there to the north that will remain. This is the future land use map. This was adopted with the comprehensive plan and is used to predict desired uses. The comprehensive plan calls for public uses at this location. Are there any questions for staff?
Counselors? I don't see any questions at this time. I will open the public hearing. I don't have anyone sign up to speak. Is anyone here to speak specifically on this item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Josh, was there a recommendation from the Planning Commission on this?
Yes, the Planning Commission recommended approval with a vote of 5-0.
Thank you so much. Counselors?
Motion to accept Planning Commission's recommendation?
Second. Oh.
We have a motion and a second to approve the item. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, that item is approved. Item 7 on the agenda, general orders. 7A, approve the professional services contract with Barry Dunn for ERP consulting services. Mr. Brad Stewart's here.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilors. I'm Brad Stewart, Information Technology Director. I also had the pleasure of serving alongside other city staff on a committee tasked with evaluating our current software situation. And this evaluation was focused on the city's public administration software, not public safety software. That police and fire software has recently been updated and was not part of the scope for this committee. The City of Stillwater utilizes an ERP system to manage functions across the entire organization. ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning and is a term used to refer to organization-wide software systems that are intended to consolidate processes and data into one centralized solution. In 1998, the city implemented an ERP solution from HTE Incorporated that included modules for accounting, community development, fleet, payroll, purchasing, land management, utility billing, and work orders. Over the years, there have been updates to some of those modules. Some of those modules have been replaced by other software, and a few of those modules are running basically as they were when they were initially implemented in 1998. The committee believes the city is not taking advantage of more modern software and technology that could help staff be more productive and efficient, help reduce operational costs, and provide a better experience for our residents. Some particular pain points that we identified were in our HR payroll system, work management, and asset management systems. Those areas are still heavily reliant on manual and paper-driven processes. And in those modules and several others, we feel that there are certainly efficiencies and advantages to be gained by implementing a more modernized solution. During committee discussions, it soon became clear that this undertaking could benefit from the services of an experienced consultant. The task of conducting a comprehensive evaluation of all our current software and organizational processes is substantial. That task is also essential to the success of determining the city's needs and identifying the best future solution. Partnering with a consultant who possesses specialized expertise and experience will help us ensure that we get an objective, thorough assessment of our current state and provide valuable guidance in selecting the best path forward. The committee initiated a selection process for a potential consultant, and on June 15th, a request for qualifications was released. Notice was posted with the news press, the city website, the Government Finance Officers Association, and we sent direct invitations to respond to 21 known consultants. We received 10 responses back, and those were ranked by staff committee based on criteria defined in the RFQ. The top 4 respondents were invited for interviews. One stood out to the committee and was unanimously selected based on their experience with other municipalities, their methodology and emphasis on current environment assessment, knowledge of municipal software providers in the market, and their approach to change management. This selected company, Barry Dunn, was asked to provide a scope of work and cost proposal for consultation services. They provided a very detailed proposal that included 5 phases of consultation. These 5 phases are estimated to take 15 months to complete, and the services and deliverables from Barry Dunn's proposal total $260,000. Funding has been identified in this fiscal year's capital fund for this project. We realize that implementing a new ERP system is a big undertaking and will be challenging, and we also know that it will be a significant investment in both time and money. However, the current administration is committed to making sure the city operates as efficiently as possible and leverages technology to the best of its ability to meet the needs of staff and residents. So I do have a recommendation, but I'm happy to pause now for any questions.
Thank you, Brad. Counselors?
I just want to say, I think it's remarkable that the team here has held this system together for 27 years without any major upgrades, and this is well past time. So.
Well, I must give kudos to the IT staff. I have a great staff that is able to do some in-house patching and put some applications together to help keep things running along.
I have noticed that we have a few systems that are still running on Excel spreadsheets instead of an enterprise system. It's time.
Thank you, Counselor.
Yeah.
This predates Y2K.
Y2K, what was that?
Are there, I've been a part of some ERP implementations in my day job and know that it is sort of a painful process, but a good process. Are there a lot of ERP systems for a municipality platform, or are there a pretty isolated number of those that are available?
I would say that's a small number. There are a few, and I don't want to name names, but we're aware of a few that are out there that are comprehensive ERP systems for municipalities. There's also the approach of going best of breed, and we hope this consultant, if we go this route, will point us in the right direction.
That was going to be my other question, is if we're looking for a comprehensive system versus a what's best for each of the function system.
That's a great question. We're trying to go in open-minded and let the consultant lead us. Obviously, we'll be involved in every step of that process, but we don't want to have something in mind.
Good. Thank you.
Is the consultant also a reseller of any of the tools?
They are not. They are independent. That was one thing in our RFQ, and when we were asking for proposals or qualifications from these consultants, that they not be tied to a specific software.
Good.
Where are they located?
These are located, I believe, in Connecticut, but they're all over. One of the primary principals that will be dealing with us is actually in Austin, Texas.
Further questions, counselors? What's your recommendation for us, Brad?
Staff's recommendation is a motion to approve the professional services contract with Barry Dunn for ERP consulting services, approve budget amendments appropriating funds totaling $260,000, and authorize the city manager to sign related contract documents.
Counselors?
Motion to accept staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the item. Please vote. Items approved with a vote of 5-0. Thank you, Brad. Item 7B is a presentation for the proposed new animal welfare facility from our very own Don Dodson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We wanted to kind of give a recap summary of what we've all been working towards for the past few years. And so that is what we're doing now, and then for Q&A, but this is for that consideration of a resolution later on the agenda. Back in 2021, Stillwater Animal Welfare was identified as one of the TIME initiatives, along with roadways, transportation, and Fire Station 2. The TIME initiatives together, investing in municipal excellence, is those big areas were identified by staff and community members. Just want to include that as well. The city brought the transportation sales tax and Fire Station 2 before voters in 2022 in 2 different elections, and both propositions passed. Since 2022, staff has been able to focus more on animal welfare, assessing community needs now and for many years to come. Through multiple meetings, we have discussed with residents, neighborhoods, stakeholders, staff, and consultants proposals for consideration. I guess that would help if I would have progressed the slide forward. At the City Council meeting on January 13th, there was very detailed presentations from our engineering director, Candy Starring, and I would encourage our residents and stakeholders to go online to stillwaterok.gov/time to review that presentation. It shares a lot of information about the proposed new facility, the floor plan, and all of the much needed items within that facility. Barrett L. Williamson was also with us, the architect, and he presented, as well as our assistant city manager, Christy Cluck. She presented finance along with our financial advisors. So please dive into those detailed presentations for follow-up. The existing facility, as we have discussed many times before, is inefficient in facility size. It's just too small. We need more kennels and we need more catteries. And there is just no space to put those in this facility. We've also assessed the property, and the buildable area is not large enough to meet the community needs now, let alone for many years to come. There are also other concerns that we have with the HVAC system, the lacks ability to recycle clean and healthy air, and the building is just not energy efficient. It's difficult to heat and cool those spaces. And for many other reasons, lack of office space, medical area, intake, assessment, we just don't have the capabilities with the current facility. This is just some more visuals regarding our kennel and cattery situation that we're dealing with. And this is an office space right here in that bottom picture for our 5 staff members. Again, Candy Starring shared this January 13th, and it really does give that visual as to the reality of our facility. A new facility. That beautiful rescue right there is personally mine. Her name is Peach, got from Animal Welfare. Solutions for the existing facilities issues is what a new facility could bring. We would be able to increase by more than double of what we have now with our kennels and catteries. It would help us to increase removal of rabid, sick, and dangerous animals from our neighborhoods and streets, increase patrol of problem areas within our town, increase capture and remove abandoned or nuisance animals within neighborhoods, public areas, and community spaces. As we've discussed before, the importance of animal welfare, humane society, tiny paws. That is why we are able to have such a healthy and safe community now. And we need to continue to work together with our community expansion to increase those safety efforts. Site selection. As Josh shared earlier, we now have FAA approval for this site. On this slide, you'll see where the existing animal welfare is and then the proposed location. Nearby features, we know that our new fire station 2 is just right down the road. The Hargis Road realignment, Sanborn Lake, the new SUA terminal that we're looking at opening for 2026. Of course, the new Ray and Linda Booker OSU Flight Centers right there. Our Waste Management Administration office is right there. And then OSU Vet Med is just 2 miles south. Easy access. This is the visual that was provided by Barrett L. Williamson Architects on 1/13/25. Just a quick view through this. Again, please go to stillwaterok.gov/time for that full presentation. This is the rendering of the proposed new facility and how it is situated on the property just off of Hargis Road. So there are areas for expandable in the future, separate adoption and surrender areas, potential area for future dog park that is contingent upon the park's master plan, which is through in development now. Training and exercise yards. Sally port for protection from the elements and to prevent animals from escaping during transfers. Separate staff volunteer parking. And the building, of course, located on that property to really take advantage of the solar orientation for heating and cooling. The floor plan, again, our current facility is, I know, less than 4,000 square feet. This is proposed to be 12,200 square feet. Again, please take a deep dive and look at the increase of kennels and catteries and staff spaces and medical areas and adoption and food prep and storage and all of the things that we do not have now. then I would encourage anyone who is, trying to debate if this is a need, maybe just go visit our facility now, and please share that feedback with us. We ask for that feedback. The mission of animal welfare is education, reunification, adoption, and enforcement. We want to ensure that SAW, Stillwater Animal Welfare, meets health and safety needs of residents and animals, economical for taxpayers, and increases quality of life in Stillwater. This was also discussed at the January 13 meeting. I would again advise people to please dive in and take a look at this. We are considering the 15-year bond scenario at the 8.75 amount for that 15 years. And just for an example, for a property that is $200,000 or that taxable value, for the annual property tax increase would look around $53.12. We have a schedule right now. We are in the resolution stage of it for that January 27th this evening. If council were to sign a resolution, then we would proceed with an election on April 1st. And of course, if the proposition were to pass, that is dependent upon the voters, then we would begin the permits, bidding, and contract with construction to be complete somewhere around winter 27-28. Do you have any questions for staff?
Counselors?
I don't have any questions, but I would just first thank everyone who has worked very, very hard on getting this together. I think one of the things you hit on with the potential of this new facility is that it's almost 4 times the space that we have now, which would be just a vast improvement. The other thing that I started looking at, I'm a geeky numbers person and kind of wanted to look at where we are on things now and what that looks like in terms of if we pass a resolution tonight to take this to a vote. You've given us some examples of how that changes things. One of the things that I would say is right now for our property taxes, if someone looks at that bill, which I dug mine out and actually looked at it, we have about 102 mills right now that are part of our property taxes. That's public schools, that's the career tech, that's Payne County, that's Payne County Health. Stillwater accounts for about 2 of that.
Right.
So out of about almost 102 mills, we account for 2. This would put us at about 3.93, so still pretty low, certainly in comparison to other entities, as well as when we look around at some of the communities around Oklahoma, how many mills that their cities keep on the books. And so the other piece of that I would say is looking out over a 25-year average going back, our average mills have been about 5.5. Right. And we have been below that average for about 10 or 11 years. And so I think that's a really important thing as we think about this, that to provide some of those amenities that our community wants, we have to be willing to invest in some of those. And I would say this investment is an investment, but it's, again, in terms of the increase in mills, it's not a huge investment. So, thank you.
Thank you for adding that.
Just to pile on there, Oklahoma City currently right about 15 mills. Tulsa's about 17. Norman's over 12. Broken Arrow's 16. Lawton is almost 11. Bartlesville is 15 mills. This is not a huge increase compared to our neighboring and the communities around us who also are trying to pay for things in their cities.
Any
Further
other
questions or comments? No.
I would just like to include, thank you to the neighborhoods, and I know you guys share this with us, who spoke up and got involved, and we were able to reassess the site. We did a full reset regarding site, finance, and it's that community participation and involvement and voice that we want and we need. So just again, appreciate their feedback.
I think that's a great point. And as people have questions or concerns about this, I know that any of us would like to hear from those people and have some conversations about this.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you, Don. That takes us to item 8 on the agenda, which is resolutions. 8A is resolution CC-2025-3, a resolution authorizing the calling and holding of an election in the city of Stillwater, state of Oklahoma, for the purpose of submitting to the registered qualified electors of said city the question of the issuance of the bonds of said city in the sum of $8,750,000 to provide funds for the purpose of constructing, furnishing, and equipping a new animal welfare facility and levying and collecting an annual tax in addition to all other taxes upon all of the taxable property in said city for the payment of principal and interest on said bonds. I will just note that Councilor Clark excuses himself from bond discussions on the council. Councilors, questions, comments, or action on the resolution?
Motion to adopt resolution CC-2025-3.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, with Councilor Clark not voting, the resolution is approved. And we will submit paperwork to the county to have an election on April 1st so that we can decide if we want as a community to build a new animal welfare facility. That's exciting. All right, item 8B is resolution CC-2025-4, a resolution notifying the public of compiling and publishing the code supplement number 11 to the code of the city of Stillwater, Oklahoma. This is less exciting, but also important. Do you want to fill us in on that?
Yes, this resolution codifies the most current code that you have adopted, and before they're actually codified, those ordinances can be found online under our online ordinance bank.
Yes, for those of you who don't keep up with the codified code of the city of Stillwater, all of the ordinances we passed sit in the back as supplements until we pass a resolution that says let's move all those into the existing body of the code. So this is again, not super exciting, but very important to make sure everybody knows what the laws are. Questions, comments, or action on the resolution?
I move adoption of resolution CC 2025-4.
Second.
We motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. That resolution is adopted with a vote of 5-0. Item 9 is ordinances. On first read, we have ordinance 3554, an ordinance rezoning attractive land containing approximately 6.8 acres located at 2020 West Airport Road, area referred to as 3111 North Hargis Road, from light industrial to P public. This is from our prior discussion this evening. Councilors.
Motion to advance ordinance number 3554 to second read.
Second.
A motion and a second to to advance the ordinance. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, ordinance 3554 is advanced to second reading. On second reading, we have ordinance 3552, an ordinance rezoning attractive land located at 701 West High Point Drive from multifamily intermediate and commercial general to commercial business. Councilors?
Motion to adopt ordinance number 3552.
Second.
With a motion and a second to adopt ordinance 3552, please vote. With a vote of 5-0, ordinance 3552 is adopted. And item B is ordinance 3553, an ordinance rezoning attractive land located at 3118 through 3124 East 4th Avenue from small lot single-family residential to two-family multifamily. Councilors?
I move adoption of ordinance 3553.
Second.
A motion and a second to adopt the ordinance. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, ordinance 3553 is adopted. Item 10 is appointments to our audit committee. So we have a couple of folks who are on the audit committee currently whose terms expire this month, and they are both willing to continue to serve in that capacity. We have both Rachel Domnick and Austin Pollard. Rachel would be appointed to a second term, and Austin to a third term, both of which would run a full 3-year term expiring in January of 2028. And then we have an open seat completing the term, a term that would expire next year in January of 2027. And I would move that we appoint Devin Zacharias to that seat. So I will move appointment of Devin Zacharias to a first term expiring in January 2027, and reappointment of Rachel and Austin to their terms, which would end in January of 2028. I can do all that at the same time, right?
Yes.
Second.
With a motion and a second to make those appointments to the audit committee, please vote. We vote 5-0. Those appointments are approved. Very much appreciate folks for serving, especially the audit committee is very important volunteer board here in the city of Stillwater, and I think we'll probably have an announcement in our counselor announcement period saying that if you have interest in serving on any of our other committees, that there are always opportunities to do that. So thanks again to Devin, Rachel, and Austin for their willingness to serve. Item 11, reports from the officers and board. From the city attorney's office, Ms. Payne.
No announcements.
Mr. Moore.
Yes, I have a couple of reminders that I've been asked to share. This is in regards to our residents so we can best prepare them in case of emergency. From the police department, please remember to apply or renew your burglar or fire alarm permit registration with the Stillwater Police Department. Permits are $6 per alarm and free to government entities and residents who are 62 years of age or older. Applications are online at stillwaterok.gov/police. Also from our fire department, if you live outside the city limits but within the Stillwater Fire Department's response areas, you may want to purchase a rural fire service contract for an annual fee of $200. The contract ensures that response fees for each fire incident will not exceed $2,000, which could save you thousands. For more information, go to stillwaterok.gov/fire.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Jalowski.
Yes. Please save the date and plan to attend the open house for Parks and Community Resources on Thursday, February 20th at 5:30 p.m. at the Stillwater Community Center. City staff look forward to hearing your suggestions, concerns, and ideas about Stillwater parks, community spaces, and facilities. We want to ensure our parks and public spaces meet the needs of our residents and families. Also, there will be sign-ups for volunteer opportunities and educational information available. Some information collected from recent park surveys will also be shared. For more information, go to stillwaterok.gov/parks.
Thank you so much. Councilor Hawkins.
City offices will be closed for President's Day on Monday, February 17th. Trash, recycling, and yard waste will still be collected. Make sure your carts are out by 6 a.m. because collection routes could vary. For more information, go to stillwaterok.gov/waste management.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Clark.
As predicted by the mayor, the city is accepting applications for various committees, including the Board of Adjustments, Board of Drainage Appeals, and Building Trades Board. Committees are essential for increased development and infrastructure projects within our community. If you'd like to get involved in your local government and help make Stillwater even greater, please consider serving on one or more of these committees. For more information or to apply, go to stillwaterok.gov/citizen boards.
Please do. Councilor Harden.
Yes. The Stillwater Community Center will present Dancing with Daddy on February 7th, 2025. All are invited to spend an evening of dancing, refreshments, and more. I assume with your daughter, correct? There will be 2 dances to choose from. First dance from 5:30 to 7, second dance from 7:30 to 9. Cost is $15 per ticket, and tickets are required. They must be purchased in advance. There will be line dancing. Thanks to Tippy Toes Studio for joining the events and teaching quick lessons. There is a limited number of tickets. Be sure to purchase your tickets early. Tickets will not be available at the door. And if I may, I'm going to go off the track here for a second. I had a really nice compliment from one of our citizens. Public Works or Water had done some work on the sewer in their backyard to try to clean a line. And they came home and found some sewage in their bathroom. Not a good thing. He called the city, and within 45 minutes, somebody was out there to take a look at it. Within 2 hours, it was fixed, and this is after the working hours. So they've done a really good job. I want to say thank you for that.
Excellent. It's good to hear. I'll let you know that each year the Oklahoma Municipal League recognizes individuals who reach 25 years of service to their cities and towns throughout the state. This is the OML Honor Roll of Service, and it's a permanent record of their distinguished service. Honorees receive a certificate and a lapel pin in recognition of the achievement. The City of Stillwater proudly recognizes 6 individuals who have dedicated 25 years of their careers to serving and improving our community. These employees include Arthur Smith with Waste Management, Christopher Hancock with Public Works, Captain Kyle Crawford and Captain Greg Connolly with the Stillwater Fire Department, and Captain Roy Stevens and Master Patrol Officer Brian Luganbill with the Stillwater Police Department. We are deeply grateful for their hard work and dedication, and the contributions that they've made will be lasting here in Stillwater. Thank you so much to those employees. I will also note, I had a request from a citizen, actually a friend of mine, Vera Walmsley, to make sure everyone remembers that today is January 27th, the 24th anniversary of the OSU plane crash tragedy in Colorado 24 years ago today. Still a lot of folks in our community who were a part very closely to that tragedy and remember it. And just would ask that you all remember those folks and always remember the 10. Councilors, nothing else on the City Council agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the City Council. Please vote. The vote of 5-0, the Stillwater City Council is now adjourned. At this time, I will call to order the Stillwater Economic Development Authority meeting for January 27th, 2025. Trustees, action on the consent docket.
Motion to approve the consent docket?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent. Please vote. The vote of 5-0, that consent docket is approved. Item 5 on this agenda is general orders to consider an application from Hollingsworth, Beverly, Hollingsworth, and John Green for small business enhancement assistance in the amount of $15,000 for improvements to 918 and 920 South Main Street. Mr. Moore.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This is an application for our TIF District number 3 for the Small Business Enhancement Assistance. Just as a reminder on those small business enhancement grants, it's for up to $15,000 of assistance, which is not to exceed 50% of the actual expenditures. Mr. Green is here tonight to tell you about the project. The total project cost for 918 and 920 South Main Street is just under $50,000 at $49,652. And of course, the amount of assistance requested is $15,000, that maximum, which is about 30% of the work that's going to be performed. Again, this is work that is performed on the exterior of the building. These are facade improvements. He's noted in his notes and application that this is for new signage, a full width new canopy, a new ADA entry, and possible new exterior lighting among an all new EFIS system that's going to be installed. So Mr. Green is here, and I'll invite him up to tell you all a little more about the project.
Thank you for having me. Do y'all have pictures?
They're in the packet.
Yeah, they've
Yes.
got all the pictures. In May, my sister and I inherited the building. If you see the before pictures, there's this horrible mansard roof that was canopy. And we decided that we needed to update, and we were hoping that the red brick on the bottom of that building went all the way to the top, and we'd just replace some windows and put a canopy on and go on from there. Come to find out, the building is horribly ugly underneath what we removed, and we were not anticipating that. And so we are asking that you all help us with that. We feel like it'll continue to dress up that part of town. Questions?
Trustees? Thoughts? Appreciate you being here, Steve.
Okay, thank you.
Certainly appreciate the work that you're doing on the buildings. It's always great to continue to see buildings on Main Street continue to get spruced up and updated, and some of this older, less appealing architecture gets updated. So, anything further from staff?
Nope. The TIF committee voted unanimously to recommend it for your approval.
Trustees?
I move approval of the application.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the application. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, that application is approved. Look forward to seeing a bright, beautiful new facade down there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. Item 5B is a Stillwater Chamber of Commerce quarterly report. Carrie Moore is here.
Okay, I think we're set now that I made it level. Thank you guys for having us. As always, we're excited to be here. We did something a little different per our contract. We provided the quarterly report in the report that was submitted, but for the presentation, we thought what would be important in helping the community is understanding what the impact of those reports have been, and not just the work being done. So we went through and we looked at what is the mission of the Economic Development Services contract, and we created one that it is to develop divisions and accelerate economic growth through collaborative efforts by sustained and ethical practices. And so we created values that no matter what we do these align with our values? Are we doing it sustainably? Are we doing it collaboratively? Are we doing it intentionally? And are we doing it ethically? As is our responsibility with the tax dollars entrusted to us. The other most important part was we see in a lot of economic development entities that it is not about being the expert in all things. It's about being the bridge between the experts. So how do we look at private partnerships, at what's going on in the city, and regional partnerships, state partnerships, and community partnerships? And how do we make the connections between the experts so that they're having the conversations that keep people working together as opposed to just working in one silo? As a result of that mindset, those beliefs, and those values, we did a survey. And of our small business university, 66.7% of the attendees reported job creation, for a total of 8 jobs created from those that responded. 2 storefront businesses were opened on Main Street. 66.6% reported an increase in their monthly revenue, and over $200,000 was secured in grant funding as a result of tools and resources provided in that program. We were able to support Stillwater Milling Company, and this is, sorry, I should have clarified this. This is from when I started in February, end of February last year, to December 31st of 2024. So we're looking at our year at the chamber as opposed to the fiscal year for the city. So we were able to support Stillwater Milling Company in securing a grant for over $500,000 as part of a project of over $2 billion that they'll be investing in our community. National Standard, we hosted their National Manufacturing Day event. We reached back out to them after and said, hey, what's the impact of that has been? And he reported that they've had a potential revenue increase of over $273,000 a year from one event. And then he actually went above and beyond and sent over this quote that says, beyond the direct sales potentials, these opportunities contribute to local economic growth by fostering job stability, strengthening manufacturing partnerships, and enhancing regional collaboration. Again, bridging those silos. So we are so excited to see that what we're doing is having the results that we want them to have. We have seen a lot of support in recruitment. We have provided over 30 customized community welcome packets to employers. That was one of the things that came from our business retention and expansion visits, was they didn't have resources to tell people, hey, come live here, come work here, come play here, raise your kids here. We have all these wonderful things to offer you. So we put that together and have been able to distribute those. We met with 3 different private investors looking for opportunities in Stillwater. Again, we are not the experts, but we know a lot of experts in that area. So we've connected them to the city management office, to local investors and state partners. And part of the goal in that is to remember that there's a lot of things that make Stillwater great. And anybody else that's wanting to invest here and help grow that, how do we help guide them through that process while holding true to what Stillwater is and what's important to our community? And there's no better way to do that than to help connect them to the right people. And then we've built a pipeline. So I do want to qualify this. We only put a company or a project in the pipeline if we are part of the top 3 communities that they're interested in. So this is not based on everything that we've responded to. This is, we're having conversations about projects where we are in the top 3 communities that they're looking at, which means that we plug that information in with our analyst partners in Oklahoma City, and they tell us, hey, this is the economic impact of these projects for your community, and that's totaling over $600 million in opportunity. We've also secured Kingspan's investment. The fun part about that was that when we met with them in the beginning, they always ask, what incentives does the city offer? And we said, Stillwater. We have a lot to offer. That is what we have. So there was no financial ask from the city to support that project coming. It was just, how do we welcome you to our community? And so there was no additional funds requested for them. And then we also played a large part in providing information to the community about what were the pros and cons of the OG&E franchise agreement. And that passed with a 73% approval rating, which was really awesome as well. We have delivered on our Grow Stillwater website as part of the contract requirement. That website is beautiful and constantly being looked at, clicked on. We've got great data from Google on that. And then we also have community partners that reach out and say, hey, we'd like to add this to it, like that. So we're working on the second rendition already. And then Select Oklahoma, we received the Heartland Scholarship for a little over $3,000 in registration fees and economic development resources. So that is another little feather in the cap that we have. Looking ahead, Stillwater, Where Tradition Meets Tomorrow, our recruitment video that we're working on, we expect to be done in Q1. We had hoped to have it done by January 1. We got the first version of it back. It needs a lot of work, so we are partnering with our OSU partners on that to get it where it needs to be to truly represent all of Stillwater. And then we have the Site Selectors Guild. This will be the first time that Stillwater attends the Site Selectors Guild. It's the largest site selector conference in the country. We will host we will attend the Heartland Economic Development Conference in April, and then we will also host Select Oklahoma in May. With hosting Select Oklahoma, we're actually bringing site selectors to our community on essentially a mock tour, but they get to experience us without the pressure of a company. They just get to keep us in mind. So, and then we expect to have 2 site visits in Q1 of 25. Any questions?
A couple. One is, what's the status of Kingspan? When are they going to start doing something?
They are doing lots.
Really?
So
Okay.
they have already started all of their construction.
Cool.
So if you look, there's lots of trucks in and out over there. They're renovating that front office, and they have already hired about 8 employees.
And I see a new face in the audience. You want to introduce him as your president?
Yes, Mr. James Wells, would you like to join us? He is our new chamber board president.
And his name is?
Oh, Mr. James Wells.
Thank you.
Yes.
Welcome.
So I've been on the website a couple times. Was especially pleased to see the number of properties that are listed. Like, makes it very easy to go get on and sort of see what's available if I'm looking to build something or do something. So that part looked great. The other thing I liked from the report is the number of sort of conferences, Site Selector Guild, that sort of stuff that you guys are being engaged with. I think that's something that is increasing, and we're seeing more activity there and seeing you out at some of these events and meeting those folks. And I think that's stuff that pays dividends down the road no matter what. So I'm glad to see you being so active with getting out and going to those things and bringing people here and all that stuff. So good progress there.
Thank you.
One of the things in the information you supplied to us in advance was that y'all had done some formal one-on-one surveys of top 10 employers.
Yeah.
Talk about what type of information did y'all garner from those interviews?
So questions that we ask and the information that we've garnered is confidential. They're trusting us with that. But the questions that we ask are, how is hiring going? How's your company? Are you guys looking? Are you in the red? Are you in the black? What resources can we provide you that would help you either expand here, or have you identified some gaps that maybe we can connect you to different partners? Are you looking to expand? Would you do you need information to some of the state resources or federal resources?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And without disclosing confidential information, are you hearing positive things? Are you hearing things that are helpful from that?
Both, I will say.
Okay.
And a lot of that comes down to how engaged have they been with the world around them. So it's really easy when you are in the trenches to only see the negative things. But when you start having these conversations and then they go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that I had access to this, it is more positive. But a lot of that comes from, have they been engaged or have we been engaging with them? So it's a mix of both.
Thanks. Anything specific you need from us at this point?
I would love to know, as we look forward and we get to renewing the contract in June, is what does success in economic development look like to the council? So that's a question I would love to pose and for us to visit on and have as a talking point, is how do we define that in our partnership outside of meeting the metric requirements?
You're not asking us that right now,
No,
right?
nope,
Okay.
just posing the question for thought.
Good. Trustees, further questions, comments? Thanks for being here, Carrie. Thanks
Thank
the
you for
work.
all your help.
Any reports from the officers or the board? Is there a motion to adjourn SEDA?
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn SEDA. Please vote. You good? With a vote of 5-0, Stillwater Economic Development Authority is now adjourned. And at this time, I'll call to order the Stillwater Utilities Authority meeting for January 27th, 2025. Trustees, questions, comments, or action on the consent docket?
Motion to approve the consent docket?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, this SUA consent docket is approved. There's nothing further on this agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn the SUA. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, the Stillwater Utilities Authority is now adjourned, and that concludes our meetings for this evening.